I want to start with a concept that feels um, almost alien in the world we live in now. Quiet motion. Just, let that phrase sit for a second. We're so used to loud motion breaking news, frantic scrolling, the commute.
Absolutely.
But when was the last time you engaged with something that was moving but moving quietly? And I don't mean physically silent. I mean conceptually.
Yeah.
Something that wasn't just screaming for your attention.
Yeah, that's a tough one to answer. For most of us, I mean, our whole attention economy is built on loud motion.
Right.
If it isn't flashing or shouting, it usually just gets registered as background noise. We treat it like static.
It's just wallpaper.
Mm-hmm.
But today, we're actually going to obsess over the wallpaper. We are taking a deep dive into a piece of media that explicitly asks us to stop and stare.
Mm-hmm.
It's from the Artist Journal podcast, produced by Northwind Illustrations. The episode is called Sky That Stayed Together. And usually, you and I are, tearing apart a research paper or some tech article. This is different.
It's very different. And I think it's important to frame this right. For you listening, we aren't looking at data points today. We're looking at a quiet space.
A quiet space. I like that.
The creator, they describe this content as a kind of bridge between a visual sketch and the reflection that came after. So it's an audio companion to a drawing.
So we're basically stepping into an artist's sketchbook, but also into their head.
Exactly.
Which I love because the sketchbook is usually where people are the most honest, right? It's where you work things out before you polish them up.
For sure.
So our mission today is to unpack this specific moment of inspiration that happened in spring of 2025. It was in Burnaby, British Columbia.
Right.
And we're going to figure out how a simple sketch of some clouds ends up holding this whole philosophy on life, on connection, and the art of just letting things be.
And honestly, the how it gets there is just as interesting as the what. It all starts with the setting.
Yes. You mentioned Burnaby, spring 2025, but the atmosphere they describe is so specific. A quiet morning, just enough sunlight.
That phrase, just enough, that really stood out to me.
Me too. It suggests balance, not blinding, but not gloomy either.
It creates clarity.
Yeah.
When the light is blazing, you get high contrast, deep shadows. It's all drama. When it's gray, everything's flat.
Right.
Just enough sunlight means you can see texture and form, but without all that drama. And that's crucial because the artist admits, at first glance, the sky wasn't really doing anything special.
Just nothing dramatic, just movement.
Exactly.
And that's the trap right there, isn't it? We look up, we see clouds moving, we classify it as weather, and we look right back down at our phones.
We do. We just gloss over the mechanics of it. We're pattern matching machines. If the pattern is normal sky, we just discard the data.
But not here.
No. The artist here engages in what I like to call the discipline of the second look. They didn't stop at clouds moving. They looked closer at the nature of that movement, and that is where the anomaly appeared.
The anomaly being that usually clouds are just agents of chaos. I mean, I'm no meteorologist, but generally I see them either ripping apart because of wind or they're just blowing across the sky like they're late for something.
They're transient, yes.
But the notes here describe this specific formation that was drifting together.
And that's the visual hook. The artist notes they were not breaking apart, not competing for space.
Not competing for space. Okay, I want to dig into that because it feels so counterintuitive to how we understand nature and honestly, how we understand society.
It's completely counterintuitive. I mean, you look at a forest, the trees are absolutely competing for space. They're fighting for light in the canopy. Roots are fighting for water.
Even in a city, cars fight for lanes, people fight for room on the subway.
Right. We define movement as this negotiation of territory. Something has to move so something else can fit.
It's a zero-sum game. If I take this space, you can't have it.
Precisely. But here you have these massive atmospheric structures. We're talking tons of water vapor, and they're moving as one single entity. The description is that they felt linked, almost ringed together, wrapped gently in cloud.
It sounds almost structural, like the chain or a piece of fabric.
A soft structure, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the paradox. Clouds are the definition of ephemeral. They scatter. That's what entropy dictates, right?
Things fall apart.
Things fall apart. But in this one moment in Burnaby, the sky was defying entropy. It was staying together.
And that visual, that defiance, is what triggered the emotional aha moment. The artist stopped seeing it as just meteorology and started seeing it as a metaphor. And they compare this cloud formation to watching a newborn
This is such a fascinating pivot in the story. It moves from observation to pure emotion very, very quickly. The words used are held, bundled, protected.
And when we hear protected, we usually think of walls or shields. We think of defense.
Right. Protection usually implies a threat. I'm protecting you from something. But the distinction made here is so important. The notes say this protection was not by force, but by presence.
Not by force, but by presence. That's the line that made me just stop reading for a second. Because how do you protect something without force?
I know.
Even holding a baby, if you're terrified you're going to drop it, you might grip too hard.
That's the anxiety of protection right there.
Yeah.
We often equate safety with control. If I want to keep this thing safe, a child, a relationship, a project, I have to lock it down. I need to tighten my grip, micromanage all the variables. But the artist is pointing to a totally different kind of safety. The text says, nothing tightening, nothing slipping away.
That sounds like a flow state.
It is. Think about the difference between, say, holding a bird so it can't fly away versus just offering your hand for it to sit on.
One is force, the other is presence.
Exactly. The clouds were bundling each other, but they weren't crushing each other.
And the artist calls this togetherness without effort.
Which I think is something we're all desperately starving for, because togetherness usually takes a lot of effort.
Oh, absolutely. Scheduling, compromising, managing egos. I mean, keeping a team together, keeping a family dynamic healthy. It's work. It's active maintenance.
And here's the sky, this mindless collection of vapor just demonstrating a togetherness that is completely effortless. It's just happening.
Wow.
The artist suggests that the sky was emulating the intimacy of human care. It's a synthesis of the sky and the intimate, the newborn.
So you have this profound feeling. You're standing there in Burnaby looking up, realizing that the clouds are like hugging each other better than most humans do.
Yeah.
How do you even put that on paper? The episode details the creation process, and it mentions the medium was ink on paper, outdoors.
And we shouldn't just gloss over the choice of medium. Ink is its high stakes.
Because you can't erase it.
Exactly. There's no Command-Z, no undo button. When you draw with ink, especially outdoors where the light is changing and the subject is literally moving, you have to commit. You have to accept the line as it lands.
The notes describe the lines as quick but attentive.
That's such a wonderful tension, isn't it? Quick implies speed, maybe even carelessness, but attentive implies deep focus.
Right. It's the difference between rushing and being decisive.
Yes. The artist isn't just scribbling. They're trying to capture a fleeting reality. They're honoring the movement before it changes.
There's this one specific detail in the composition that I found really touching. The narrative mentions that within the sketch there's a small sign of love placed gently, but it emphasizes that it appears not as a statement, more as a trace.
That distinction statement versus trace, that is critical to understanding the whole aesthetic here. We live in the era of the statement. Everything is a manifesto. Everything's branded.
Yeah.
If you feel love, you put it on a billboard. You post it with caps lock on.
We want to be heard. We want our feelings to be validated by an audience.
But a trace is different. A trace is just evidence, a fingerprint. It's there for the person looking closely, but it isn't demanding your attention. By making this sign of love a trace, the artist aligns the drawing with the clouds themselves.
Ah, because the clouds weren't screaming, "Look at us." They were just being.
Exactly. The art mirrors that humility.
And this all feeds into the artist's mindset, which they talk about explicitly. There's a line, "The moment didn't ask to be improved, only noticed."
That might be the most countercultural sentence in the entire piece. Didn't ask to be improved.
It goes against everything we're taught. We're taught to optimize, to upgrade, hack your life. If I take a picture of a sunset, I'm putting a filter on it to make the oranges pop more. I'm improving reality.
We treat reality as a raw material that we need to refine into content.
Yes.
We think this is nice, but how can I make it viral nice? How do I frame it so it looks perfect? We're constantly imposing our will on the world. The real skill here is the discipline of restraint. It takes incredible confidence to look at something beautiful and just say, my job is to record this. I am the witness, not the editor.
It's the philosophy of completeness. The artist says some things don't need to be interpreted, which I have to say makes me feel a little guilty because we've been interpreting this for the last 10 minutes.
We are breaking the prime directive, yes, but I think the point still holds. The artist mentions that these moments pass through our field of vision already complete.
Already complete. That is such a heavy concept.
It is. It suggests that value is intrinsic, not assigned by us. That cloud formation didn't become valuable because the artist drew it. It didn't become valuable because we're talking about it. It was valuable simply because it existed. It was complete in and of itself.
It reminds me of that old riddle, the tree falling in the forest.
Doesn't make a sound.
Yeah. And this philosophy argues, yes, it makes a sound, and it doesn't care if you heard it or not.
And that's oddly comforting, isn't it? It takes the pressure off us. We don't have to validate the universe. We just get to live in it, which connects right back to the title, Sky That Stayed Together.
Let's talk about that title, because staying together feels like a victory these days.
It really does. We defined motion earlier as chaotic or competitive, but here the theme is stability within motion. The text mentions the comfort found when motion doesn't scatter.
Wow.
Think about that in a personal context. You can change careers, you can move cities, you can age, that's all motion. But can you do it without scattering? Can you keep your core integrity intact?
So it's dynamic stability. The clouds are moving, but the relationship between them holds.
Exactly. It's not static. It's not a photograph. It's a movie. But the characters are staying in character. That's that newborn feeling again. The baby grows and changes every day. That's rapid motion. But the bundling, the care around it, that stays constant.
Now, I want to zoom out for a second. We're talking about this philosophical approach, but this isn't just a one-off sketch. This is part of the Northwind Illustrations ecosystem. And the materials mention something called the Studio Gift Box.
Right. And usually when you hear gift box or bonus content, you think it's just marketing fluff.
Pretty much.
But in this context, I think it serves a different function. They offer things like color palettes and phone wallpapers that are derived from these moments.
So it's like digital swag.
On the surface, yeah. But think about the function of a phone wallpaper. You look at your phone 100 times a day.
At least.
It's the portal to all the noise, the emails, the news, the stress. By putting this artwork, the sky that stayed together, on that screen, you're essentially placing an anchor in the storm.
You're interrupting the pattern.
You're putting a reminder of quiet motion right on top of all the loud motion. The notes say that for the original listeners, seeing the artwork lets them see what the story is holding.
That's an interesting way to phrase it. What the story is holding.
Isn't it? The image is a container for the emotion. And if you put that container on your lock screen, you're carrying a little piece of that Burnaby sky around in your pocket.
It makes the philosophy accessible. You don't have to be an artist to need a reminder to just slow down.
And you don't have to be out in nature either. That's the beauty of it. You can be in a crowded subway, look at your phone, see those bundled clouds, and just take a breath. It's a tool for regulation.
So bringing this all back home, we've got our listener, the learner, who's probably doing 3 things at once while listening to this.
Probably.
Why does this deep dive matter to them?
I think for the learner, the lesson here is all about the quality of our attention. We pride ourselves on being informed. We want to know why things happen. We analyze, we deconstruct. And that's a valuable mode of thinking. But it can't be the only mode.
If you analyze everything, you kill the magic.
Not just that. If you analyze everything, you exhaust yourself. You're constantly applying force to the world, trying to crack it open to see how it works. The lesson from the sky is that sometimes you need to switch from force to presence.
Attention and acceptance.
Yes. There is a massive efficiency in acceptance. The clouds didn't waste energy competing. The artist didn't waste energy trying to fix the scene. They just let it be already complete. Imagine how much mental energy we would save if we applied that to our own lives.
Instead of trying to optimize every conversation or, win every interaction.
Just witness it. Nothing tightening, nothing slipping away. Just be there. It sounds passive, but as we've talked about, it's actually a very active, disciplined choice. It takes will to be still.
It's the discipline of the second look again. The first look judges, the second look accepts.
I like that. The first look sorts the data. The second look appreciates the form. We need to do more of the second one.
So here's the challenge for the week. And it's a tricky one because it requires you to do, nothing. Or rather, to do nothing with something.
Which is so much harder than it sounds.
We live in a world where we caption our lives. We review our experiences. We turn moments into anecdotes before they're even over. But what would happen if you didn't?
What would happen if you let the next beautiful thing you see just be?
Don't take a picture of it. Don't try to come up with a clever metaphor for it. Leave that to us podcasters. Don't try to improve it. Just watch the motion.
And see if it stays together without your help.
I think we could all use a little more of that togetherness without effort. Thank you for slowing down with us today. It's been a real pleasure exploring the sky that stayed together.
It really was a refreshing change of pace.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive. Until then, keep looking up and maybe, just maybe, keep your phone in your pocket.
Take care.